Alrighty, time to make my final submission in the My Transformation Starts Today 8-week sprint challenge. I can't believe the 8 weeks are over, but we're finally here, and I am thrilled with the progress that I've been able to make. All in all, I've lost a total of 20.2 pounds and almost 30 inches off my body, which is just mind-blowing to me. I'm very, very proud and extremely excited to see where else I can push my limits here for the rest of the year. When I first signed up for the challenge, I did it after being exposed to the group, to Phorm, through Jeremy Mullins. I live here in Huntington, West Virginia, near him, and the macro egg community that he's created was recommended to me by a friend. After dealing with weight issues for my whole life, I was willing to pretty much try anything, and I had, even though I'd never even heard of a macro last year, I was ready to give it a shot. So I've learned so much from him, and when he told our group about this transformation challenge, I thought it would be an awesome opportunity to add some more accountability and get involved in a really positive community and uplifting group, which you've created there at Phorm, and try to stay committed and try to actually do something that I said I would do. Unfortunately, last year was not my year. Not only did I have my health issues that I mentioned before, but more than anything, I had created a habit of committing to something and then quitting. It wasn't just with weight loss, although that was probably the biggest commitment I have quit the most times. But just a lot of things in my life. I would say I was going to do something. I was going to help a friend, or I was going to volunteer more, or I was going to, lose weight or exercise more. And I just never did. I would start and I would feel motivated, and then it would get hard and I would quit. And that, over time, that did a lot of damage to my self-esteem and just to my self-confidence in general. I mean, when you routinely fall back on your word, it makes it so that your word doesn't really count, doesn't really matter. And when you don't have, when your word is worthless, then you're lacking honor. And that was something that I had lacked for a long time. And I was pretty tired of that. It made me feel pretty bad about myself. And when I signed up for the challenge, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think I could win. It was not something that I was set out to do. I just wanted another level of accountability, like I said. But I was so inspired at the end of last year by another member of the macro egg community, Dennis McLaughlin, who won 2 quarterly prizes last year. I watched his story and I got in touch with him, and we shared some comments back and forth. And he's not Superman. He's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing special about Dennis that made him win. He's just like me. There's no reason why he could do it and I couldn't. And for the first time, I saw that, and I started thinking to myself, why not me? Why can't I do that? I can, and I will. And once I started thinking that and believing that, things just started to fall into place. I had a lot of motivation coming from my health situation. I really, really, really want to avoid having chemotherapy, and I believe that the more I can take care of my body, the better my body will be able to fight back against this cancer, and I can hopefully kick that can down the road for as long as possible. That was a lot of motivation. I have to admit that, obviously. But right coming in a close second is just following through on something that I said I was going to do. I had no idea how good that felt. Unfortunately, I didn't know it well enough, but now that I've experienced that, and how empowering it is to actually follow through and do something just because you said you would, I am very calculated now about the things that I commit to doing, the things I say I'm going to do, and then making sure I follow through and I do them. I will continue on this journey this year. I will continue to take care of my body, to love myself enough to put in the hard work, to continue to lose the weight, to continue to make gains physically so that I can be as strong and healthy as possible, to continue to love my life and allow this process to translate into other aspects of my life, I'm going to do those things. I started work this week, actually. That was another big thing that happened this week. I had a great week weight-wise. I lost a couple more pounds that got me to my 20-pound goal, which I'm very, very proud of. But even more so, I was super proud of myself for going back to work. It's been almost a decade since I had worked outside of the home. I was a teacher prior to having my son 9 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom this whole time. I started doing some work about 5 years ago from home on the computer with some social media marketing, but predominantly working at home that whole time. And then this past week I had the opportunity to take a long-term substitute position with a special education classroom at my son's elementary school. And I worked my first full work week in almost a decade, and boy, it was exhausting, but I loved every second of it. And I feel like this transformation gave me the confidence to not only accept that challenge, but to walk in there with my head high and excited and confident in knowing that I could do it, even though I haven't been in a classroom in a decade. It was nerve-wracking, and I was terrified about the challenge, really, and what that was going to look like with a full work week. I mean, I know people do it all the time, but I had never done it. I've been, able to go to the gym in the middle of the day for the last decade. I didn't know how to balance a work life and stress with exercise and then making good food choices. And I was really nervous about it, but I talked it over with my husband, and I made a plan, and I executed my plan. I laid out what I was going to do. I committed to those things, and I did them, and it felt amazing. And I'm just so excited to see, where else I can go with all of this. And I feel like things are just falling into place, and they're starting to click for me, not just in my health, on this health journey, but also just in everyday life. And so much of that comes from believing in myself, knowing that when I make a commitment to something, that I'm going to do it and I'm going to follow through. And something that Dennis said before, he said it in his social media posts, and he said it to me on numerous occasions, is that as long as you show up, if you keep showing up, you have a 0% chance of failure. That really hit a chord with me, just because I never thought of that. I've always assumed that I was going to fail. That was, I would just go into it thinking I was going to fail, and then if I accidentally succeeded, it would be, a surprise but fantastic. If you set the bar low, then I wouldn't have to worry about being disappointed. That's disappointing in and of itself, and it's such a warped way of thinking, and I'm so glad that is not how my brain is operating at the moment. I've done a complete 180 in this transformation. I think that's where my transformation really has been. I'm going into things believing that I'm going to succeed, not just thinking I'm going to succeed, knowing that I'm going to succeed, because I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. It's just mind-blowing how it has affected every single aspect of my life. I have improved relationships with my family. Some of my family have been a little distant from, and I've made a commitment to be more present there. My work life, obviously, I said earlier, has been drastically improved because of my newfound confidence. And this health journey is, like I said earlier, just beginning for me. I have so many things I want to accomplish this year, and I cannot wait for the next challenge. But thank you so much for hosting this first challenge and for being such an awesome, supportive, caring, knowledgeable community. I've learned so very much, and I can't wait for the next one. I guess that's it for now, and I look forward to checking in with you in the next few weeks, and ready to kick some more ass in 2018. Thanks again for all that you do, and look forward to catching up with you soon. Okay, bye.